Hello, friends. Let's travel down to the lowest level of the ETC, the kinesthetic sensory level. It's one of the easier to understand. If we were to be almost completely on the sensory side, we don't quite move. We're just experiencing, we're just listening, smelling a candle of some sort. We might have our feet in the water or laying on the sand, feeling the sun. Not a lot of movement. It's very sensory. If you get to the middle, if you were to say, hit some drums, to be able to hear and take in that sense, you have to move to hit the drums. And so you need each other to balance each other out. What's interesting is when you're over almost entirely on the kinesthetic side, you are moving far too much to experience, to listen to me right now, to be able to even remember what that drum felt like, to remember what that scented marker smelled like, because you're all over the place. This can be very important in art therapy. People who come in with trauma often have a lot of tension that they have to get out first. And think of yourself. If you're nervous about something, do you tap your leg, a repetitive motion? Do you twiddle with some sort of ring on your finger? Have you ever bitten your nails as a child? Children suck their thumbs. If you have long hair, do you just mess with your hair and touch it when you're nervous? I know when I study, I need to get up and take a walk, and I walk and I memorize stuff. I need to be moving. And so it's a very important part of all learning and memory. It's the basis for anything in art making. How would I draw a picture if I haven't moved my arm to do so? And it's something you can look at because the kinesthetic level is all about rhythm and finding your rhythm. So when you're watching someone do a drawing, is it a slow, methodical, or is it really fast and expressive? Those different kinesthetic approaches can tell you a lot about what's going on inside the person. But as I said, with trauma, it comes down to self-soothing a lot of times. You have someone who needs to tell their trauma story, or they need to work on higher level functions, but they come in and you give them some clay and they just rip it and they pull it and they poke at it and they roll it and they smash it and they throw it. Yes, I did just throw that for you. And so you might think, oh, I'm not getting anywhere with them. They don't want to be here. No, this is important. This is therapy. Because right now, the rhythm is very fast. They're all over the place. They may be scared. They may be angry. They may be overwhelmed. And so they keep moving. And how can you expect someone who, if you remember someone who's scared and they're shaking, but maybe, this person isn't showing it, but inside their mind's going a mile a minute. They're looking at all the exits. They're thinking about what they have to do. They think if someone's going to be mad or not. And you say, I want you to sit here and make me a diagram of something. Or name me a whole bunch of animals' names. You don't really have the patience to be able to do that. So you have to get this energy out, and it may take several sessions, but eventually this fast kinesthetic level, this rhythm, often slows down to something more steady. And that's when you can start to go up the ETC level. Example that you can cause yourself. If you have someone who's angry, and we've all done this, rip a paper. That feels really good. It doesn't matter what the final piece looks like. What matters is just the rhythm that I'm moving and I'm getting that tension and I'm getting that energy out. In case I don't want them to hurt themselves, I have the suggestion of, have them cut out a whole bunch of these strips. And if you want to slow them down, have them take each strip and do something different to it. And at first, you'll get fast movements. I have this accordion here. I have scalloped edges. But then the more of these strips that you have, the more you have to really think about what you can do to it. This one is sort of like a castle, and this was hard to do. This forced me to slow down and think cognitively. And you can slow down someone's rhythm like that so they are able to think. And so after they spent several sessions ripping and pulling and throwing, Now you get them and they want to make something particular, and you have to start prioritizing and organizing the way you'll do things and how you want to do it, and do it much more purposefully. One way you can do that is to take a hammer and nails, and if they're set, they may need to keep hitting it in, and you might get these big motions, or you might have someone who already is a slow rhythm and they're very methodical, and they need to learn to increase their rhythm and their strength in order to get the task done. And so you can see, if you're going to build a large structure that requires a lot of, the cognitive level, it also includes some of the kinesthetic level. And so it's a very important level not to be overlooked. It occurs very young in children. And so you can do it with all ages. You have your children just exploring things in their body, and they put their hands into the paint. You got your scribbles going on, where it doesn't matter what the ending looks like. What matters is getting moving. And that can be important for someone who is stuck on the final project, just doing something, taking paint, throwing it at the walls, and moving and exploring and finding what your own rhythm is. So a lot of pre-verbal memories are associated with the kinesthetic level, because babies move and they explore and they do things before memories are formed. And so, have you ever done something, maybe played with Play-Doh, or colored with some crayons, or helped someone bake some cookies in the kitchen, and you go, wow, I haven't done this since I was a kid. It makes me feel like a kid, and then it might remind you of something. It may bring up one of those pre-verbal memories of someone in the family that you haven't seen in a long time because they used to be there when you did that thing. And so, as I said, it's important for trauma work, and it is the foundation for much of the ETC levels. And so it's important to know it and to use it. So best of luck.